Hi, I'm Vidas from Oxylabs. If you've ever tried collecting data from the web, whether for research, analytics, or training AI models, you probably run into a few familiar problems. Websites blocking your requests, pages loading slowly, or limits on how much data you can pull. That's why you probably started looking into proxies. And that's for a good reason. A proxy server acts as a middle layer between you and the rest of the internet. Instead of connecting to a website directly, your request first goes through a proxy, which hides your real IP address and sends the request on your behalf. To a website, it looks like the request is coming from somewhere else entirely. This makes proxies essential for large-scale web scraping, automation, and SEO monitoring, and their speed can make or break your setup. A fast proxy means smoother, more reliable data collection. A slow one can bottleneck your entire system. So in this video, we'll answer some of the most common questions. Which are the fastest proxy servers? What is the fastest proxy server? And what exactly is a good proxy speed? We'll start by explaining the main proxy types, compare how they perform in real conditions, explore what fast actually depends on, and help you choose the right one for your needs. Let's define what speed means in this context. When people talk about the fastest proxy servers, they usually mean one of three things. Low latency, that's how quickly your request travels through the proxy and to the target site and back. High bandwidth, that's how much data can pass through the connection at once. And stability, how consistent the performance stays over time. If the latency is low, pages load faster. If the bandwidth is high, you can send or receive more data at once. And if stability is good, your scraping jobs don't fail mid-run. In simple terms, low delay, high capacity, steady performance makes a fast proxy server. So what counts as a good proxy speed? Datacenter proxies can offer and deliver response times under 100 milliseconds. For residential or ISP proxies, anything below a second is considered strong. Now that we set the baseline, let's look at the different proxy types, because that's where most of the performance differences come from. There are four main types of proxies you'll encounter: data center, ISP, residential, and mobile proxies. Each type routes your connection differently, and that directly impacts how fast it feels. Let's start with data center proxies. These are hosted in powerful data centers with direct, high-speed internet connections. They don't depend on end-user devices or local ISPs. Everything runs on optimized infrastructure. That means fewer hops across the network, lower latency, and very stable bandwidth. If you need the fastest proxy servers, data center proxies are at the top of the list. They're perfect for high-volume scraping, monitoring APIs, or tasks where milliseconds matter. Next up, ISP proxies, sometimes called static residential proxies. They use IP addresses assigned by real internet service providers. So to websites, they look just like normal home users. But behind the scenes, they're hosted on stable, server-grade hardware. This gives you a blend of speed and credibility, almost as fast as data center proxies, but much harder for websites to block. If you need both performance and stealth, this is often the sweet spot. Then we have residential proxies. These are IPs coming from actual devices connected to home networks. Think laptops, routers, and smart TVs all across the world. Because they use real residential connections, they look completely natural to the target sites. The trade-off is that they rely on the quality of each user's internet connection, so speed can vary a lot. Some will be fast, others slower, depending on the region and the local ISP. And finally, there's mobile proxies. These use IP addresses from mobile carriers, LTE, 4G, 5G networks. They're great for accessing mobile-specific data and for scraping targets with strict anti-bot systems. But mobile networks add extra layers of routing and congestion, so latency tends to be higher. They're reliable for tricky targets, but not the fastest option if raw speed is your priority. So, to summarize the ranking in plain terms, fastest overall are data center proxies, fast but stealthy are ISP proxies, slower but highly trustworthy are residential proxies, and slowest but most resilient are mobile proxies. Now, here's the important part, because even the fastest proxy server on paper can perform poorly if the setup isn't right. There are a few key factors that influence real-world speed. First, location. The physical distance between you, your proxy, and the target website affects latency. A proxy located near the target's data center will almost always be faster. So if you're scraping a site hosted, let's say, in Paris, choose proxies in Europe, not across the ocean. Second is network routing and quality. Traffic on the internet moves through multiple hubs between providers, and each hub adds tiny delays. Premium providers like Oxylabs use optimized network routes to minimize those delays and maintain steady throughput. Third, load and resource sharing. Shared proxies can slow down when multiple users send requests through the same IP. Dedicated proxies give you exclusive access, ensuring bandwidth and speed remain consistent. That makes them a tad bit more expensive, but it does make your success rates way higher. Fourth, protocol and encryption. HTTP proxies tend to be slightly faster than HTTPS ones because there's less encryption overhead. SOC 5 proxies can add flexibility, but sometimes at a small performance cost. Fifth, the target website itself. Some sites throttle responses, challenge bots, or add CAPTCHAs. Even the fastest proxy won't help if the website deliberately slows you down. In those cases, a slightly slower but more legitimate-looking proxy like an ISP or residential one will actually complete requests faster overall. And finally, your own scraping setup. Inefficient code, too many browser sessions, or poor concurrency handling can make a fast proxy feel slow. So optimizing your software matters just as much as picking the right proxy type. We do have plenty of tutorials on how to build your own scraper, so take a look at the description and find one that will help you optimize your project. So, after hearing all of this, you might still be asking yourself, which proxy server should I pick? If you need pure speed, for example, price monitoring, bulk data collection, or SEO analysis, go for the dedicated Datacenter Proxies. They're the fastest, most consistent, and most cost-effective for high-volume jobs. If you need speed plus stealth, choose ISP Proxies. They're only slightly slower but appear as real users, making them much less likely to get blocked. If your goal is to reach hard-to-access websites like those with strict anti-bot systems, or if you need geographically diverse IPs, residential or mobile proxies are ideal, even though they're slower. In these cases, fast means reliably successful and not lowest latency. So, to bring it all together, what is the fastest proxy server? The short answer is dedicated Datacenter Proxies offer the best raw speed. But depending on your use case, ISP proxies might give you the best effective speed, fast, stable, and less likely to get blocked. A good proxy speed is the one that matches your goals: low latency for performance or higher reliability for complex targets. If you'd like to explore which proxy type is right for you, visit oxylabs.io. We got detailed guides and setup tutorials for each proxy category. You'll find all the links in the description below. And if you have any questions or want to share your experiences, please leave a comment or join our Discord community. We're always happy to talk about proxies, web scraping, and performance optimization. If you've encountered any problems with our products, email support@oxylabs.io or write to us via the live chat on our homepage. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.